back, that should be a good range where you can look to average and bring your cost lower.
Lakshmi, and she's talking about Ambuja Cements, 200 shares of Ambuja Cements, as she's what she purchased at the levels of 410 rupees per share. She wants to know whether she should look to average at current levels for the longer term or switch to some other names, and if so, then which one should she look at? What's your take, Ashish, on Ambuja Cements? You have the cement companies going ahead and taking price hike from February 1 onwards in the southern region. But how does Ambuja Cements look like? You think that Lakshmi can average at current levels?
No, instead of this, you can sell the stock and shift to India Cement. India Cement has given very good return in last few months to investors. And in my view, Southern West Cement stocks will continue to perform because the kind of capacity addition which was there in northern and part of the country is not there in southern part, and prices are also higher as far as realization is concerned in southern India compared to northern part. So I advise if you can shift to India Cement, I am sure in next 3-4 months you will even recover the loss which you might incur if you will sell Ambuja Cement now.
Question is coming in from Vincent, and he says he's aged 63. Vincent, thanks so much for tuning in. Ashish is holding on to Escorts at levels of 710. He's got 150 shares, and he says that he's a long-term investor. I don't think that he's in any rush to sell, but he's wondering whether to book out and to move to something else.
See, now Kubota on board, I don't think so. You need to be in a hurry to exit from Escort anytime near soon. And it has already rewarded very handsomely to invest in last 3 years. In fact, one of the best performer auto stock is Escort. So my suggestion will be to remain invested here, and maybe in a couple of years' time, you might get 20-25% more upside, at least on per annum basis.
All right, this one is coming in from Padma, and she wants to know about TV18 Broadcast and Signet Industries. Is it good buy for the short to medium term? Either TV18 Broadcast or Signet. Kunal, which one do you think is a good buy for the short to medium term?
I think Signet is something which I don't track. It's a penny stock. But on TV18 Broadcast, I think it's interesting because the stock is time and again showing those strong perk up of volumes, good price action for itself, even though the stock has corrected from 65 levels, which is the high of this month, to almost 58, 59 where it's currently trading. But the chart patterns on the longer term time frame look very attractive. But remember that this theme where the mid cap stocks would outperform would also have to gel with the markets starting to look very impressive and more trending in nature. So assuming if post budget, if the market volatility subsides and you see the markets getting into a steady uptrend, then I believe TV18 could actually do pretty well for itself, and that could be a good time to invest into the stock price.
Okay, Kunal, this next one's for you as well, and a couple of stocks for you to talk about, because we got a viewer who's seeing relatively substantial losses in two frontline IT stocks. He's got Tech Mahindra as well as Infosys. Infi he bought at levels of 1855, Tech Mahindra at levels of 1650, and he's seeing losses about 60,000, he says, on each of these. He's got a 1-year time horizon. Should he sell or switch to banking space is what he's asking.
First of all, Alex, if you remember, start of this month, I've been very, very vocal about my view that the IT index is likely to underperform significantly, and the money is likely to shift back towards the banking names. We've seen that outperformance playing quite well, and IT index down 7%, banking index up some 13.5% this month itself, which means that there has already been an outperformance of more than 20%. But now when you're looking at it from the IT pack overall, I would suggest that you can switch to banking names, but don't go for a complete switch towards banking names. It's not that the likes of Infosys and Tech Mahindra, they would not come back to their previous highs. They are going to a phase of correction / time consolidation. So possibly over the next 2 to 3 months, you might see some underperformance continuing for the IT names, but that doesn't take away the kind of quality both these stocks have from their respective subsectors on the IT pack. So I would suggest that you can probably add, the banking stocks, maybe an ICICI, Axis Bank or HDFC Bank at current levels, but don't completely switch out from the IT pack. And if there is a powder dry, possibly look to average it out further over the next couple of months if these stocks correct by another 5 to 10%.
I'll come to you, Ashish, on this one, and it's on Dr. Lal. Abhijit wants a long-term view on Dr. Lal. He's wondering if it's a good buy at current levels. He wants to hold it for the next 5 years or more. What's your take on Dr. Lal?
Invested. If you're having long-term horizon, those stock has appreciated quite a bit. But in my view, in last one and a half year, but the way they have expanded their network pan-India basis and the kind of free cash flows these diagnostic chains are running, Dr. Lal Path Lab can give very good returns. In fact, like Apollo Hospital, how it has given handsome return to investors in last 3-4 years. So Dr. Lal is on same trajectory. So my suggestion will be to remain invested, or on any decline also, even you can add more.
Okay, we're getting a lot of similar queries. Perhaps a very quick one here, Kunal, just reinforcing what you were talking about in terms of the frontline IT companies. We've got another question coming in from Mr. Parsi, and he's asking, considering that the IT pack is a little bit shaky, would you wait to enter into Wipro? And I think a few other viewers are also asking about the likes of TCS and maybe some of the mid-cap IT companies as well.
Rather than shying away from the correction and do it in a more staggered approach. My sense is that, as I said earlier, that over the next 2 to 3 months, there could be more correction in line for these IT names. So rather than trying to find the exact bottom, which is very difficult investment, you can start at current levels, because the IT stocks, for example, have corrected more than 13% to 14% on an average from their recent highs. So this could be a good starting point, but then keep some powder dry in case if these stocks correct by say another 5 to 10% lower over the next 2 to 3 months. That could be an additional point where you can look to average it out further.
Actually, like Alex was saying, a lot of questions on IT, and since you were saying about fresh investment, Kunal, so Sham Prasad Mukherjee, he's saying that he wants to invest 5 lakhs in IT stocks, preferably in Infosys and TCS, since they have corrected almost 20%, and he wants to hold it for 5 years. So he wants to know, can he expect 20% return? So what's your take for this one then?
Absolutely, yes. I am bullish on the 5-year prospect for the IT names, and as I said earlier, that you have to take advantage of this correction. But my only advice would be to not just look at those large cap IT names. Try and add more mid cap IT stocks as well. These stocks, have corrected, I think, 30% approximately. Many of these stocks. So they could be good starting point. And always, when you're trying to make a portfolio, if you have those mid cap, stocks, quality mid cap names, they can always help you generate a slight better alpha on a more longer term perspective if the sector call goes right. So I would suggest that it's a good strategy, but add slight more mid cap names, something like, for example, Tech Mahindra, where I'm extremely bullish upon over the medium to long term. I think that's one stock which you can definitely look to add from the rest of the other IT names like Infi and TCS.
Let's move on from the IT pack then. We've got IOC, which Sanjay is asking about. He's holding on at levels of 113, Ashish, and he's thinking of holding this for the long term. Should he do so?
IOC, you said?
Yes, Indian Oil Corporation.
Okay. So instead of Indian Oil Corporation, which is primarily an underperformer stock in this sector, I'll suggest you switch it to ONGC, because the way crude prices are going up, the direct beneficiary is going to be ONGC in my view. And because these oil marketing companies will keep on having the subsidy burden because of elections and all those stuff. So my suggestion will be to go for an upstream company, which is ONGC, which can give you better returns.
All right, a lot of short-term queries that we are getting. Kunal, this one is from Shailaja. Wants to know whether she can buy Sharda Cropchem at a current price for the short term.
think again the stock has gone through a correction from, I think if I'm not wrong, from 617 towards 545 today. But wait for a I would say furthermore leg of correction, or a period where for at least a week or couple of weeks the stock gives you slight negative returns. So I think that's the best time to try and buy these stocks which move it very high intensity. So assuming if it comes closer to 440 450 levels, that could be a good starting point where you can look to accumulate Sharda crop.
Okay, we've got Shravan from Ahmedabad who's asking and who's planning on buying Tata Consumers. This one's for you, Ashish, on the fundamentals because he's looking at a 2 to 3 year time frame. If not this one, would you suggest another from the consumer goods space?
I won't. I'll suggest to go with Tata Consumer only, and like I'm expecting very good set of numbers even in this quarter. And the company which is having now access to 20 crore plus homes with 26 lakh retail outlets with almost 6 verticals of food. In my view, as they are working from lower base, continuous next for 2 to 3 years, they will keep on showing positive set of numbers only. So Tata Consumer, don't think of selling. In fact, add this stock on any decline. In my view, next 3 years, even you may get a price target of 2,000 rupees here.
All right, this one is coming from KR Balan, another IT question. Kunal, he wants to know whether he should sell Mindtree and Happiest Minds, where he's already making 10% profit, and move to Axis or ICICI Bank. And also you have KG who's actually asking about Mindtree in particular. How is it looking with a 1 year horizon? What's your advice for Balan? Should he move out from Mindtree, Happiest Minds, book profits, move to Axis ICICI? And for KG, wants to know specifically about Mindtree, how is it looking on the charts?
Everything boils down at the end of the day towards timing these names. Now, Mindtree, for example, have made a high of 5,000. Now the stock is at some 3,700, 800 for itself. So it's already corrected by more than 20 to 25, 24% approximately over the last 3 months for Mindtree. Now, had the query been say closer to those 5,000 levels or 4,500 levels, then the view could have been to try and book out profits over there. Now at 3,800 levels, as I said earlier, that if these IT stocks correct by on an average 25%, then I believe they could come back into some attractive territories. So I think Mindtree is now come back to 200-day moving average and very attractive price points for itself. So rather than looking to book out profits, stay put with this, because possibly over the next 3 to 6 months, once the IT cycle revives, you could see Mindtree also outperforming from current levels. So I would suggest a hold on Mindtree, and if you bought at lower levels, you already have a buffer to try and hold it for say at least another 3 to 6 months.
Okay. Kunal, next one, and I guess let's slip in a few more questions very quickly. This one's from SV Prasad. It's a question on Laurus Lab. Would you buy at this level is the question. 1 year, 1 year time frame.
Not really. I believe that it's better that you try and avoid the stock. I think the stock is lacking a lot of trend for itself, and many of the times for at least 3 to 6 months, these stocks they get into a time-wise correction. I would suggest an avoid.
Okay, this one is from Dasha Reddy, and he wants to know about GMR Infra. Does it make sense to invest at current levels? What's your take, Ashish? Do you think it's a good bet to look at currently?
See, after this demerger which has happened, we haven't seen any momentum happening in the stock per se. So, in my view, you can avoid this stock for timing and instead of look at other infrastructure play like NCC or J. Kumar Infra projects, which can give you better returns.
Okay, gentlemen, it's time to hit the rapid fire segment, and you know what this means. We'll be firing questions at you and you'll have to give your recommendation. Rajendra wants to know about Indian Overseas Bank. He's picked up at levels of 20, Ashish. Should he, or rather, sorry, he's asking you, Kunal, should he sell this and buy Vedanta for the short term?
I would suggest switch to another banking name from the mid-cap space. I would suggest either a Federal Bank or even a Punjab National Bank at current levels.
Tripti has bought Tata Consumers at around 762 rupees per share. Was this a one-year view? What's your take, Ashish? Should she hold on to this one?
In fact, buy more.
Okay, next one's from Tina. Avenue Supermarts, would you buy for 2 to 3 years, Ashish?
See, stock has already corrected by almost 30% from the peak. So it will be a good time to look at this stock at 4,000 rupees for sure. It's in my buy list at 4,000 rupees.
Sapna wants to know whether she should buy JB Chem. What's your take, Kunal? Should she?
It's attractive. I think the stock has done reasonably well over the longer term charts. I think at 1700, 1750 looks very attractive. You can go ahead.
Okay, APL Apollo is a question coming in from Aarti. For a period of 1 year, Kunal, would you suggest a fresh entry?
Stock has just started to get into the first month of big correction. My sense is that maybe over the next 3 to 6 months, there could be more correction in line. I would suggest an avoid at this point of time.
Alright, this one is from Anup Gowda. Short-term view on Tega Industries, bought at around 700 rupees per share. Should he hold or exit a newly listed firm? What's your take, Ashish? Do you track it?
Yes, I think you can continue to remain invested. Like there was excellent response for the company IPO, and after that we have seen some profit taking. But remain invested here. It has got very good future prospects.
Okay, unfortunately we're completely out of time. There are so many of you who've written in. The one that I'm looking at right now is writing in from Tamil Nadu. She's a nurse. Thank you so much, guys, for your patience. Unfortunately, we can't take all of your queries. We try and take as many as possible. We'll be back on Monday to take more queries. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining in and for being so patient and for sharing the insights that you did. We're slipping into a short break, but there's more on the other side, so do stay tuned.
आप सबको मालूम है कि माननीय वित्त मंत्री जी 1 फरवरी को भारत का यूनियन बजट पार्लियामेंट में प्रस्तुत करेंगी। आइए ईटी नाउ स्वदेश पे मुझसे सुनिए कि इस बजट को सरल तौर पे कैसे समझ सकते हैं।